Today, we have a very important story coming from Plateau State, Nigeria. Locals have reportedly confronted armed groups, sometimes referred to as Fulani militias, and recovered stolen cattle. This is a significant event because it shows how ordinary people are responding to insecurity in their communities. Before we go further, take a moment to like this video and subscribe so you never miss updates like this. In Plateau State, many communities rely heavily on farming and livestock. Cattle are not just animals, they are sources of livelihood, food, and income. When cattle are stolen, it affects families deeply. Recently, reports indicate that armed groups took cattle from herders, leaving communities worried and frustrated. This prompted local people to organize and pursue the stolen cattle themselves. Their action shows how strong the determination of ordinary citizens can be when protecting their homes and assets. Now, it's important to understand why this happens. Cattle theft, or rustling, has been an ongoing problem in Plateau and other central states in Nigeria. Often, it is linked to disputes over land, grazing rights, and sometimes even local politics. Security presence in rural areas is not always sufficient, which creates opportunities for these thefts to happen. Communities often feel left out or helpless, so they take matters into their own hands. This is exactly what happened in this latest incident. Local people chasing the thieves and recovering cattle is significant for several reasons. First, it restores some sense of safety and control in the community. Second, it sends a clear message that residents will not remain passive in the face of threats. However, it's also important to remember that while community action can be effective, it can sometimes escalate tensions if it is not coordinated with the authorities. This is why it is crucial for local people to work closely with security forces to avoid unnecessary conflict. Security forces in Plateau have been making efforts to address these problems. Troops and police have been conducting operations to arrest suspected rustlers and recover stolen livestock. Past operations have led to the recovery of animals and weapons, which shows that there is a positive impact when security forces take action. Still, locals sometimes feel that the response is too slow or insufficient, which is why incidents like this community-led recovery happen. It's also important to note that incidents like this are part of a larger, ongoing situation. Plateau State and neighboring areas have experienced long-standing disputes between communities, herders, and farmers. These disputes are not just about cattle. They are connected to land use, resources, and the struggle to protect livelihoods. Every stolen animal, every recovered cow, reflects deeper challenges that communities are facing. Leaders in the communities and organizations representing herders and farmers have been speaking out. Some emphasize peaceful dialogue and cooperation with security forces. Others argue that communities must be prepared to protect themselves. These differing perspectives show that there is no single solution to the problem, but working together remains the key to reducing conflict and ensuring safety. For viewers watching this, it is important to understand that stories like these affect real people's lives. Families who lose livestock face financial strain. Communities worried about insecurity live in fear. And ordinary citizens taking action show courage, but they also highlight the need for structured support from the government and law enforcement. Every time you watch a story like this, remember to like the video and subscribe so we can continue bringing you accurate and timely updates. Share this story with friends and family because awareness is part of the solution. When communities, government, and individuals understand each other, it becomes possible to reduce the risks and protect livelihoods. This incident is also a reminder that conflict resolution and peace building are not just abstract ideas. They are practical, everyday needs for communities in Plateau and other states facing similar challenges. Each recovered cow is a symbol of resilience, but also a reminder that much more work is needed to prevent theft, violence, and insecurity in the future. Now, let's talk about what this means for the broader Plateau community. When locals act to recover stolen cattle, it shows both determination and desperation. People are trying to protect their livelihoods because waiting for security forces alone is often not enough. But at the same time, such actions can create tension. When one community takes action, it can lead to misunderstandings with neighboring communities or with groups accused of theft. That is why dialogue and cooperation with authorities remains so important. It is important for everyone watching to understand the human side of this story. These are families who rely on farming and livestock for everything: food, income, and their children's education. A stolen cow can mean a week without income or even hunger for some families. So when locals reclaim stolen livestock, it is not just an act of bravery, it is a fight for survival. At the same time, it is a reminder that security in rural areas is still a major challenge. Troops and police continue to patrol the area, and they have had some successes in arresting criminals and recovering cattle. But the sheer size of rural Plateau makes full coverage difficult. Roads are long, terrain can be difficult, and communities are often isolated. This is why the cooperation between locals and security forces is essential. Community vigilance, combined with structured security responses, is one of the most effective ways to reduce theft and violence. It is also worth noting that these incidents affect not only Plateau, but the entire Middle Belt region of Nigeria. Conflicts between farmers and herders, theft, and insecurity have created a cycle that has lasted for years. Every recovered animal, every report of a theft, contributes to a larger story of resilience, frustration, and the need for long-term solutions. And that is something for all Nigerians to think about, because it is about more than just one village or one community. It is about the stability of the region. Another point to consider is how this affects local youth. Young people are often on the front lines of these incidents, helping their families protect their property. Many have grown up seeing theft, violence, and insecurity, and some feel the need to act. This can be both positive and dangerous. Positive because it shows courage and community spirit. Dangerous because taking action without proper coordination can escalate into wider conflict. That is why guidance from local leaders and law enforcement is so important. And viewers, as we talk about this story, remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Your support helps bring more of these important stories to light, and it allows us to continue explaining complex issues in a way that everyone can understand. Now, let's look at the broader impact. When stolen cattle are recovered, it sends a signal. It tells other communities and potential criminals that locals are watching and will defend their property. This can act as a deterrent, but it also highlights a reality: the need for stronger law enforcement and more support from the government. Communities should not have to risk their lives to protect livestock. Government intervention, along with community vigilance, is the best path forward. This story also opens up a bigger conversation about conflict resolution and peace building. Plateau and similar regions have long-standing tensions between different groups, often over land, resources, or grazing rights. Every act of cattle theft or recovery is part of that larger picture. That is why it is important for everyone, local leaders, government officials, and citizens, to focus not just on security, but on long-term solutions. Dialogue, mediation, and collaboration can reduce these incidents over time. And finally, this story reminds us that ordinary people have strength and courage. Communities coming together to protect what is theirs, families standing up for their livelihoods, and youth taking responsible action all show the resilience of Nigerians in rural areas. But it also reminds us that there is still much work to be done. Security must improve, dialogue must continue, and understanding must grow. So, as you watch this, think about this. Every stolen cow, every recovered animal, every news story about conflict is a chance to learn and reflect, support peace, encourage collaboration, and, of course, don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe so we can continue bringing you these real-time updates from Nigeria and beyond.